Okay, this is video number 3, and we're once again going to pick we've got a new project, and we're going to go simple template. Now it's asking me if I want to save the last project I was working on. I'm going to say no, but I'm going to show you how to save a project at the end of this project. So I didn't want to throw too much at you too soon. So we'll say no, I don't want to save this. And we start where we did last time. So we know we've already got our selection tool selected, which is this arrow at the top left hand side, or just below this little magnifying glass. We click on our designer and we hit delete, and she's gone. So then we go over here to our left view like we did last time when we were making the boxes, and we're going to select the rectangle tool, and we're going to go 6 by 6 again. So we draw a thing and we go 6, 6 and enter. And it looks like it's disappeared. And now we need to zoom in. So we scan down, and we're going to get our hand tool here like we did last time. And you can see, just keep the origin in place, okay? And whenever you've got a choice of tools on the left hand side, you can see a little arrow next to it. It means there's a number of tools on each of these selections. So you can see here you've got a number of tools here, which I'll show you as we need to. But at the moment, what we can do is we can just keep sweeping my fingers down, the 2 fingers at the center of the mouse pad, and as the origin disappears, just drag it back into view so we don't lose it. And down again, and drag it back into view. And then we're going to pick our ISO view again, and we're going to grab our push-pull tool, click on the face that's 6 by 6 and drag it in the direction that we want it to go. And then we're going to make this one, let's make this one 200 millimeters. So select 200 millimeters down at the bottom right hand side here and go enter, and that's our box. Now we'll go to that view, not the end view, we'll go that way. So you can see you can get different views by clicking on different boxes or different views over here on the right hand side. And I am going to show you now how to make this into what's known as a group. And a group just means we get all the faces to join together, because at the moment if I was to grab my move tool and grab this bar here, you can see that this is moving just that face, okay? Now I might want to move the whole thing as a beam. Now if you ever make a mistake, you can hit your Control Z. It'll take you back to where you were, which is a handy thing to know. So we're going to make this into a group so that all those faces become one solid lump. We want to make it one solid lump. So it's like playing with blocks. So we get our select tool and we click on this 3 times, 1, 2, 3. And you can see the blue line appear around it. And then we right click the mouse. So right click and we go make a group. So now if I grab my move tool and I grab this, instead of pulling that face out, it grabs the whole thing and moves it as one big group of faces and lines and edges. So that's what a group is. So we now know the group, okay? And now what we're going to do is we are going to make a duplicate of this group. So say we wanted 2 of these beams that are 6 by 6 by 20 centimeters. What we can do is once it's selected, so I'll go back to select tool and I'll select outside. So at the moment we're not selected. So what we do is we triple click 2, 3, and then we're going to grab our move tool, which is this one here, not the select tool, the move tool. And when we've got our move tool selected, we go over the shape, we hold down the Control key and we click the left mouse button. Click. Now when we move up, what will happen is there is our copy. Okay, so now we have a copy of that group. So we've got 2 of them now. Now to show you that in 3 dimensions, we've already talked about the hand tool and being able to move the hand around. We've talked about sweeping our fingers up the mouse pad and down the mouse pad. Up the mouse pad and down the mouse pad to zoom in and zoom out. We've done that, but what happens if we want to, instead of zooming in or zooming out or moving it around on the screen, we want to rotate? If we go down here, there's one that looks like that, and it's pretty obvious that it's called the orbit tool. Okay, so we click on that, the orbit tool, and that means we can orbit round our view. So we're not actually turning the object in space, we're turning our view. Okay, so we can look at all the different views. Now, you can already see that I've probably made a mistake here because I have, when I've done that copy, only copied the face. Okay, so I've done something wrong. Okay, so the orbit tool is telling me that I've actually stuffed up, which is great because you learn by your mistakes. So we are going to click on our select tool, click on that, and I'm going to hit delete. Okay, and now we've still got lines here. I'm going to click on those. I'm going to click outside our selections. I'm going to click on the lines, and I'm going to hit delete. Okay, I've lost the whole thing, so I'm going to go Control Z to get me back, and I'm going to see if I can get rid of this black line here. Can I do this to it? Select it and go delete. No, I can't do that. Okay, so I'm going to use my select tool. Can I click on the actual line and make it disappear? Now if it turns blue, I can get rid of it. But whenever it's turning blue, it's selecting the whole thing. So I'm just going to go delete the whole thing. I'm going to start again, which is really annoying. So we'll go in view, and we'll go rectangle tool, and we'll go 6, 6, enter, and then we'll grab our push pull and we'll pull it, Control Z. We need to change our view to ISO, and then we're going to pull this 6 by 6 out until it's 220 centimeters. Done. Then we're going to go back to the left view, and we are going to pick our hand, drag it across, and I clicked too many times on that view. I think it's just what the problem was. And I'm going to just sweep out a bit. So this time, when I with my select tool, I'm going to click 3 times. 1, 2, 3. Okay, not more than 3 times. Then I'm going to select my move tool. And then I'm going to hover over here, hold down Control and click. And I'm going to let go of Control, and when I drag my finger up, it should take the copy with it. Now let's see if this time I have a 3-dimensional copy. So we go to Orbit tool, and hopefully when I orbit down, yes, success. Okay, so now we have 2 copies of our group. Okay, our beam that's 20 centimeters long. Now I want you to sweep your fingers up and down on the mouse to understand the zoom. I want you to do the orbit tool, play around with the orbit tool, do it now, swing it round, okay, so that you understand how this works. Now whenever you push your finger down and then sweep across, it'll rotate that way. Whenever you push the mouse down, if you have it sideways, if you push the mouse down, you can rotate in the other direction. Okay, so there's a whole range of ways you can orbit this this view. Okay, so play around with that idea, and then if you want to go back to a standard view, click on the left hand side, you get a standard view. So that is how you use the orbit tool. That is how you make a copy. I'm going to show you how to do that one more time. So with the select tool, click outside to deselect. We're going to click on the original one that we had 3 times, 1, 2, 3, turns blue. We are going to grab our move tool. We're going to go back on here. We're going to hold down Control, click the left mouse button, let go of Control, and then we just drag our copy down here. So that we now have 3 copies of groups. Okay, 3 identical groups. So if we click outside now, we can deselect that one. So you've got 1, 2, 3 groups. Not that hard, is it? Now, if you want to actually modify a group, there's one other thing you can do. Watch this. This is actually a lot of fun. You triple click with the selection tool selected, then you go to this pen tool and you draw a line from here up to here. Okay, and then what you do is you grab your push-pull tool. This is if you wanted to trim a piece of timber, and you slide this back until it goes darker blue, and then let go, and voila, we've just trimmed our piece of timber. Now let's scoot in a little bit more. I'm going to select another one. 3 clicks. Let's click outside. I don't think I did that right. 1, 2, 3. We've selected it. I'm going to grab my pen tool, and this time I'm going to go up. I'm going to go up like that. I'm going to go across like that, and I'm going to go down like that. Okay, and then I'm going to grab my push-pull tool. I'm going to go inside that selection, and I'm going to sweep it back. Now, sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get it to bright blue. Let go, and voila, it's chopped that out. And then for this bottom one, I'm going to click 3 times, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to grab my pen tool, and I'm going to cut it this way this time. Bit of a 45 going this way. And if it does that, you can go escape. Now, this will probably not work. Watch what happens when I try to do this one. See how it's not letting me select? The reason why, I'm going to Control Z to get rid of that. The reason why is because with my pen tool, I didn't select the other edge. There was a bit of a gap at the top here. It didn't quite make it. So let's do it again. Click. So sometimes if you have a problem, it's because you haven't selected well. Okay, so that's, let's see if this one works. This is where it can get quite frustrating because you don't make proper selections. And if we sweep that back till it goes bright blue, let go, and voila. So let's sweep our view, zoom our view back in, and you can see you've now made 3 copies of groups, and you've learnt how to modify them. So let's do a copy of this bottom one here. Okay, so if these were components, the only difference would be whenever I change one, the other 2 would change in exactly the same way. We'll learn about that later on. But let's have a go at making one more copy of this bottom group. So we'll go like that, get our hand tool, move us across, and we're going to click on the bottom one 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Now it's selected. Then we're going to go to our move tool. You guessed it, hit Control key, left mouse button, click, let go, and when you drag this up, voila, we've made a copy of it. Click outside if you want to deselect it. So if you scoot back, you can see that we have successfully made lots and lots of groups. And we've also seen that when we make a change to a group, the other ones don't change the same. Now, if these were components, you would see that change happening in both of them. And I might do that in the next video. So now if I want to save this, I can hit save. And it'll come up, and it's at the moment it's got untitled. I'm going to call this groups and pen tool. And I'm going to save it here. And that's this video. So this video has been a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth. Have a real play, a really good play with those tools, and really get to know them well.